You can't really tell by looking at it like this, but there sure are a lot of creeper craters on this field. Hello everybody and welcome in this extra long special episode of Daedalus Plays Minecraft. I got a suggestion a while ago to do a world tour and I thought it'd be a good idea to do that in episode 50. So let's get started here at my main base of operations, the farm. Here I have a map showing a part of the world, most of it is on this map. Barely visible, the farm is right here in the middle. I think first we'll visit a place I don't really visit anymore, but it's still an important part of the world. Somewhere here in the Everfree Forest, as I named it, is my original spawn point. I was quite new to the game when I started, so my immediate concern was to build a shelter and to find food. As I walked towards the east, I found this little pond here, where I started building my very first dirt house. Here I grew my wheat, which is the reason I built next to the water. Though I didn't stay here very long, it is the very foundation of this series. And of course, everybody needs to build a dirt house at some point, and this is mine. I started playing in Minecraft Beta 1.8. And Endermen were a bit different back then. They could pick up every block. So you see a lot of misplaced leaves or trees with missing trunks around here. I'm glad I changed that, or this forest would be an absolute mess by now. Anyway, on one of my first days, I walked here just a bit to the north looking for cobblestone to mine. And I found this cave here, where I did get my first cobblestone and iron, but that also had a direct access to this zombie spawner. I don't have any mob traps or XP farms in my world, so I never did anything with this either. I might use it to spawn zombie villagers, but I'm not even sure about that. So there is a cave attached to this dungeon, and I did mine some stuff from it. I would go in this direction. But as you can see, I never really explored this very much. Over this way I also found my first underground ravine. They were still new and exciting back then. Now we've seen so much of them, they're not really interesting anymore. Well, I obviously didn't mine out everything from here. I did have plans to make scaffolding and completely strip this ravine, but I just never did anything with it. So there's lots of darkness left where mobs can spawn. Of course, I moved out the dirt shelter, so this place isn't so close anymore. And I found other, more useful things in other places. So this cave is interesting for being the first one I found, but probably not for anything else. Connected to that cave is this little area. I made a small strip mine, just as an example and introduction to my first mining episode. Now it's the home of Cave Sheep and his friend. They seem to be quite happy down here. Anyway, this part happened to be close to my dirt shelter. Because I had a wheat farm here, I always kept looking for tall grass to get seeds from. And so one day I walked in this direction. This path didn't exist back then, of course. And this led me out of the forest to a very nice plains biome. It was quite flat and open and was looking out over the water. And I could see the swamp back there. So I built my wheat field here, which is still the same. And as I needed wood for my house, I added a tree farm with 25 oak trees. Later, when other plank types were introduced, I expanded that with 6 birch and 6 spruce trees. I had to move my cactus and sugarcane farm when I did that to their current location. On the other side of the house, I have added more farms. Here is a field with pumpkins, melons, and the latest addition to this part, the cocoa beans. Right here are also pens with the farm animals. These pens are built right on top of my first mine, which went from the surface down to bedrock. I just filled in the top layers with dirt and the final layer of cobblestone. It can still be accessed from this cellar where I have the minecart station, but this way leads to the mine under the farm. So you can see how that's going down. One problem was that I built this mine directly on top of another underground ravine. I chose to fill in all the walls to just continue the mine, but that took a lot of time. And I also had to cut through a lava lake at the bottom. I could have just plugged it with gravel, but I went the hard way and turned it all into obsidian. So that's my first mine, directly next to the farm. And while I was mining, I also found another cave. I explored this one a bit more, but again I never really finished. I do remember I found another dungeon in here, and I may have left some stuff in a chest there. I just can't remember where that was. Well, it's not this way. Oh, well, if you don't mind, I will take this gold. Maybe I should try to explore this cave again. After all, it's right underneath my farm. Ah, yeah, I remember this. Ow! I'm not sure what I left in that dungeon. It could just be cobblestone and string or something like that. But it's possible I left a saddle in there as well. Saddles could be put on pigs, of course, but they were pretty useless, and as they don't stack, it's quite possible I just didn't bother taking it. Yeah, remember I've been here too. Do you see those smooth stone blocks in the middle of the path? I think those were left there by Endermen as well. As I said, they could pick up any block, so nothing was safe. Oh, I didn't know this was connected to here. This is a ravine I found here. I will get to this later. Anyway, that concludes the tour of the cave. Let's get back to the farm. It is very close, just this way. So another later addition are these fields, where I grow carrots, potatoes and netherworts. I built this next to my color wheel, a round building with sheep dyed in all possible colors. I had just plain white sheep already, of course, but having to dye their wool every time I needed a different color seemed like a waste of dye to me. So I built this place where I could have sheep in all colors, regrowing their wool after I sheared them. Sheep can't fit through doors, so they are there to keep them from escaping. I hadn't really used much of this until recently, so it turned out if I suddenly need a lot of wool in one color, I will need a lot more sheep. So I built this temporary extension where I could keep way more of them. Anyway, following this path to the east then leads us to the ravine you saw earlier. I also use this path a lot to get to my desert, which is just a bit further in this direction, but we'll visit that later as well. Back in front of the house is my labyrinth, complete with Minotaur. This used to be all water, but I built this on top of it. We've seen everything out here now, let's go inside the house. In the entrance here I have my two favorite paintings. In this chest is all food and animal stuff, meat, feathers, carrots. Here are pumpkins, melons and cocoa beans. This chest isn't really used much. And here's some random stuff as well. Then off to the right is the kitchen. Here I have smelted ores and lapis. And then of course unsmelted ores and the necessary coal. This chest was full of redstone until they invented the redstone block. And on this side I have a brewing stand. So here's some brewing stuff along with random adventuring and redstone stuff. And then my famous brewing cheat sheet on the wall. So let's say I want to make a weakness potion to cure zombie villages. I will need a fermented spider eye. Then I should have awkward potions in the stand ready to go. Now just make them into splash potions, just add gunpowder. Meanwhile I can make new glass bottles. And then these are done so I can put those in the chest. I'll fill up the glass bottles with water and place them back in the brewing stand. And finally I add a nether wart to get awkward potions, ready for more brewing. On the left of the entrance is another room. One half is reserved for adventuring stuff. I want to have things like boats in here. And there's the map and the compass on the floor. And the other half has all the stuff from this side of the farm. Oak wood and planks, spruce wood, birch wood. And of course here is sugarcane and cactus. And there's a chest out here too. Ooh, I didn't know I had a compass in here. And I can use these shears to repair this one. Anyway, one more room on the ground floor. This is where this house started, just a small hut. I expanded it later. I just use it as storage. Dirt here, sand and gravel, sandstone. The chests on this side are all filled with cobblestone. And there's tools and random blocks here. and another random stuff chest. Plenty of crafting tables too, so I don't have to look for one. Here's more random stuff, and some more here. Moving on to the first floor now. Here's a nice open area with a wonderful view over the wheat fields. In this chest I keep my log. The entire first season is here. And on the other side of the jukebox I keep my records. On the right is my bedroom. It's fairly empty, just a chest with cookies in it. A clock to see the time, especially useful when it's raining. And there's access to the loft where I keep more cobblestone and sand. Here too are very nice views over the wheat field and the water at the front. And finally on the first floor, on the left side, is my enchanting table. When I built this you needed 30 bookshelves for maximum enchanting, now that's changed to 15, so I replaced some with an anvil and a chest. I tried out enchanting a few books when that was new. And these swords are waiting to be enchanted. Of course, with no XP farms at all in my world, that's not a very speedy process. But that's the farm. Directly to the east of the farm is my village. It's about 200 blocks away, so that's fairly close. Unfortunately, all the villagers got killed except for one. I keep him safe in here until I have this village fixed. That's not a good trade.
Huh?
No, it's not. So, have a nice stay there. I got rid of all the farms in here and I connected the roads. Now I'm in the process of building more houses. I only built this minecart station so far. And that goes into the tunnel, and underneath this village is a minecart junction. Even further to the east is an area where I've been doing a lot of mining. In one episode I compared two different techniques to see which one was faster and safer. This is the type of mine I had done at the farm. It's like strip mining, just all the way from the surface to bedrock. Good thing about that is that you see every block in the area and you don't need torches. It's just very slow. So I mined out every block here and gathered all ores in this chunk. Up there I actually found a dungeon. It's not very accessible right now though. And here's the other technique I tried, just digging out a 2-block wide hole from the surface to bedrock. It's faster, but also slightly more dangerous. Later I used the area around here to do all my regular mining. These are all 5-block wide pits. I can dig out one of those within one Minecraft day. And just north of the village, so northeast of the farm, is my first desert. There's no temple or anything in it, but it's the location of one of my biggest builds. I wanted to make a compass rose on my map, so the only way to do that was to build a 128 by 128 blocks large compass rose in the desert here. It's not finished yet. I'm planning to replace the dirt with some other material. And underneath it, I want to build an enormous storage area. In the middle here is also my only nether portal. Way off to the south is another large project. I found it just by following the water. It's the location of my lighthouse. Now the lighthouse of course is not the large project, it's just there to indicate that underneath it is the first abandoned mine I found. I had been looking for one for a while but couldn't find anything. And then one day I just stumbled upon this one. So, fearing I would forget the location, I built this lighthouse here. Here's some materials in case I ever need to repair it. It uses jack-o'-lanterns for lighting, since when I built this I didn't have any nether portal yet. So jack-o'-lanterns were the best thing I had. At the top is another nice view over the surrounding areas. So the real action isn't way up there, it's down here. This is the way into my abandoned mine. I started exploring it just around here. I cleared out all the corridors and mined all visible ores. Well, it's not done yet, still a work in progress. So that's the large project here. And recently I expanded my world once more, this time just south of the abandoned mine. With the latest additions to the game, I needed new land to find them. And this is one of the ways I hadn't been before. That's probably a small chunk of Extreme Hills biome, but it's cut off due to this chunk error here. There's a swamp directly behind it, but after that is another plains biome. Ah, that looks like one of the lost horses. I got in a bit of a situation where I got lost and lost 3 of my horses, so at least I've got this one back now. For some reason I went the wrong direction, so I'm sure I can find the other 2 at some point again. But let's go just a bit further south. Yeah, so I must have followed this river the wrong way. And right there is the location I found these horses. It wasn't the only good find here, just a few blocks to the west. I also found my very first desert temple. It had some gold, iron and saddles as loot, which came in handy because I hadn't brought any saddles. Anyway, back here at my mining site. If I go more to the east, I will find my jungle. The jungle itself isn't so exciting, but it's where my Eyes of Ender led me. I marked their trajectories with these wool blocks here. So just a bit further is where they intersected. Just in the jungle here. Ah, there it is. So this, of course, is then the entrance to the stronghold. Now which way to the portal? Must be through here. Ah yes, here it is. There's a strange fountain. And right next to it is the end portal. I didn't have enough Eyes of Ender to fill it, and I'm not entirely ready to fight the Ender Dragon yet either. So that's something I will have to return to later. Speaking of portals, I already said here in the desert is my only nether portal. It's not very exciting, but we can have a look anyway. I need to explore in there too, now there are more things to be found as well. Some monsters have made it through. So the only thing I have here is this way. This is a path that leads directly to a nether fortress. I do hear a ghast, so I'll have to be careful. Ah, well, there it is. I don't know where it went, so let's just run. Well, then down there is the fortress. I won't go exploring that now, there's nothing too interesting in it. I don't think he dropped the ghast here. No. And I'm sure if he dropped anything, it fell in the lava. So anyway, that's the nether, not very exciting. And that's almost all of it. I just have one more place you haven't seen. It's also a place I haven't been in a while. It's just a bit too far away. And it's in a place that's not the easiest to get to. It's way out to the east from the desert here. There's my jungle, we have to go straight through it. Well, and finally, after a long ride, I've arrived at the location. Let's just quickly go to sleep first. This hut I built right on the edge of another ravine. But of course that's not the reason. I have plenty of ravines already. I have this hut here because of this back here. Creeper mine. It is another abandoned mine I found when I was looking for a new village. I never did find a village, but I accidentally found this instead. I'm clearing all the corridors, same as I'm doing in my other mine. But because this one is farther away, I hardly ever get here. It's called Creeper Mine because when I found it, there were loads of creepers down here. They just kept on coming. So I've cleared out a lot already. But this is about as far as I got. Yeah, this is still dark. Ooh, and a chest. I think we can have a look in that. Of course, this has been generated a long time ago, so don't expect horse armor or anything. No, that's hardly worth taking it. I'm just lighting a bit more up now, so when I return one day, there aren't mobs everywhere. That's good enough for now. Let's make our way back to the farm, the place I always return to. Ooh, but that sounds like a slime. There, now we can return to the farm. So, now we've seen just about everything. And with that, we've reached the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed. If so, do like, subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again next time.